We had talked a little bit about it earlier that when 950 came along and they were able to go to 97.1 the ticket, and that kind of was writing on the wall for 11:30 because how are you going to compete with an FM station? Talk about, and then you mentioned they cleaned house, and then a short time you left later. What did you do when you left the Fan? Did you have a plan, or where did you go from there?
Yeah, so it was really sad. Obviously, Clear Channel knew what they were doing with the timing of everything because of the Obama inauguration and our first African-American president. It was such a historic day for the country that they knew, all right, if we lay off 30% of our workforce across the country and blow some stations up, which included DFN, it'll be on page 7 instead of page 1.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. So you're right. For Stoney Wojo and all these people to get fired, they kept us around. So it was myself, Rob Otto, and Matt Shepard stayed around because they kept us to do the sports updates during national sports programming on Fox Sports Radio. So it was bizarre. And Rona, the program director, was still there. So Rona, when they're handing out these brown envelopes in the hallway outside of the update studio, and I'm seeing my friends all in tears, and all these people are like, the Jim Rome show was at noon. So I was going to do the updates that day and then go up to the Palace, I think it was a Pistons game that night. But there was not going to be a Stoney Wojo in the afternoon. There were just going to be a national programming. I remember Otto called me and goes, "Do I still come in?" I said, "Have you been fired?" He said, "No." I said, "Yeah, you got to come in and do updates at top 20 and 40 during Fox Sports Radio." And he's like, "What are we doing?" I said, "Well, it's a job. Get in here." So I talked to Rona, and Rona's like, "Just keep coming in and keep doing Pistons pre and post game." And I was doing Detroit Titans still. And they were still on our air. So my job really didn't change. But within days of the whole debacle, Tom Bigby, who was running the ticket, and the ticket was becoming a force. They were our competitors, but they were beating us in the ratings too. Tom Bigby called me, and I never thought in a million years I would go, as they said, Ron, that day, about those days, across the street. But we met at Kirby's, Coney Island, Northwestern and 10 Mile, right by Capital Mortgage Funding where they used to be. And I met with Bigby and another guy. Big Tom was just a legend in the business. He was, when I was in college, everybody said, apply for jobs at every sports radio station. See if you can get a weekend update shift or whatever, but don't send your tape to WIP. Well, why not? Well, there's this evil, mean program director there named Tom Bigby. He will never hire a college kid, no matter if you're coming from AER, Northwestern, Ohio U, any of these great programs, no chance. So it's like, all right, I won't apply to WIP. I would have gone anywhere out of college. So
right.
Here I am sitting across the booth from Big Tom in his all black shirt and pants. And he's just like talking to me like, he in only Bigby fashion, he's just killing the station, DFN. He's talking about how he beat them and how he destroyed them. And I'm like, and I kind of talked back a little bit at him. I'm like, but it wasn't you, it was budget cuts. And he goes, no, I destroyed them. We actually had a lot of fun with it. And then he's like, you got to come across the street. And I delayed it as long as I could because I was getting paid to do Pistons, Titans,
sure,
and DFN all at once. So I was triple dipping. And I finally, like in March, he called me and he's like, "Are you coming or not?" Like in his country draw that he had. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And I had to go back to the station, and the general manager, Till, and I'm like, "I'm leaving." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Why? It's the place burned down. There's nothing left." She's like, "Did you sign a no compete?" "It's probably in your file." I said, "That paper was handed to me 6 different times over the last 10 years. I never signed it, ever." She's like, "Yeah, you did." I said, "No, I didn't. You can go through my file." Went into Charlene Little's office in HR, looked through my file, wasn't there. I left on a Monday and I started at the ticket on a Wednesday.
How did you get away from not signing that? That's insane.
I don't know.
I'm sure they wanted to lock you up.
Maybe the smartest thing I ever did, Ron. Like, you're right, because this goes back to Greg running the station where he said, "Can you do me a favor and sign this?" I never did.
Good
so
for you.
So I literally left DFN in March. I don't remember what day it was. And I started, that was a Monday, I said goodbye. And Wednesday I was on doing afternoon updates pretty much on WWJ and DFN and 97 on the ticket to start. And then just the ticket after that. And like I said, then I moved on to help Mike and Terry's show. And Pistons came over, so I got back on the pre and post game at the ticket doing Pistons. And so,